Hi, I'm from the Customer Success Engineering team. In this series of short videos, we'll be taking a look at recommendations for forwarding your traffic to the Zero Trust Exchange. This is part 4, covering the Client Connector app profile. As discussed in the forwarding profile video, Zscaler Client Connector has two profiles that must be configured, a forwarding profile and an app profile. This video focuses on the second of these, the app profile, which is used by ZCC to make decisions as to what traffic should be steered towards the Zero Trust Exchange. As mentioned previously, one of the advantages of zTunnel 2 is that it allows you to more easily configure much more robust traffic bypasses in cases where this is needed. Via the app profile settings, you can configure bypasses in multiple different ways. First, you can create global FQDN and IP bypasses. The primary use case for these is to bypass VPN gateways, but this can be used for any FQDN, IP, or subnet. Note that resolution on these is performed on each network change, so this can have an impact on performance, and it is not recommended that you use this field for more than a dozen entries. Next, you can configure IPv4 and IPv6 exclusions using the IP bypasses field. This allows you to more easily bypass subnets, ports, and protocols. Note that private subnets are always bypassed by default, and that port-based bypasses only work for ZCC on Windows and macOS. In cases where there is a conflict between exclusions and inclusions, the most specific of the two will be preferred for a given IP and port. In App Profile Pack configuration, you can also bypass domains at layer 7. This is done via configured pack files and is useful for bypassing wildcard domains or large lists of domains. Finally, there are two ways of bypassing applications. The first of these allows you to select well-known applications to bypass from ZCC, such as Zoom, Teams, SharePoint, or Exchange. These application definitions are controlled by Zscaler. On Windows and macOS, you can also define custom process-based application bypasses. This allows you to easily bypass traffic from a process and all its child processes. Matching is done based on the application name and hash or a certificate in order to ensure that users cannot trick the system. Here, you can see an example syntax for the pack file domain bypasses we just talked about. In the first block, traffic to wildcards and domains listed are sent direct to the internet instead of being forwarded to the Zero Trust Exchange. The second block routes traffic to specific sites through specific service edges, whether public or private. The third block ensures that any zTunnel 1 traffic, for example, web traffic when users are on a trusted network, is correctly load balanced when it reaches the service edge. It's important to understand here that if you are using zTunnel 1, the IP or process-based exclusions configured in the app profile will not be applied, only pack-based exclusions. The final type of bypass, configurable via the app profile, are DNS inclusions and exclusions. DNS exclusions are used for private or local domains that require access to local DNS servers. Note that DNS inclusions always take precedence over IP exclusions. Also, note that you can use IP inclusions to ensure that unsupported DNS types are still forwarded to the Zero Trust Exchange to ensure that cloud firewall policies are applied to them. Next, the app profile is also where you can select which device posture profile to use. Posture profiles are configured separately in the ZCC admin portal, but each app profile can be associated to a single posture profile. You can then assign different app profiles to different users based on access criteria, with corresponding posture profile evaluation. Finally, the app profile is also where you can configure captive portal detection. This setting allows you to configure ZCC to either fail open or be used to display the detected captive portal, to allow the user to log on to the captive portal to access the internet. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching.